Hey guys, I'm Julian. Welcome back to the workshop. In this video, what I'm going to be showing you how I achieved this super clean custom protective wrap on my bike. I will show you the whole process start to finish. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. It's real easy. You don't need any specialist tools, but I'll show you a few cool tricks that can really take it to that next level. Let's get stuck into it, eh? Right, so before you get started with this project, what you're going to have to do is find this 3M protective vinyl. I'll leave a link for it down below. It's reasonably cheap and comes in a long roll, so you can get some bang for your buck with that. It also conveniently is the same size as my vinyl cutter, but we'll get into that later. What we're going to be doing in this is we're going to be masking out the pieces that we want to protect, draw the exact shape that we want. You could just take those marked out bits, pull them off the bike, and then cut it out of the vinyl. That works just as well. But what I'm going to be doing in this video is taking that one step further. So I'm actually going to be digitizing those and cutting them out on the vinyl cutter. What that allows me to do, number one, is put in like real nice radiuses, little cuts, little eyelets, a few little graphics here and there. But also it means that I can share those files, and hopefully after you've done this video and digitized your ones, you can share it online with all of us. That makes sense? First thing you're going to do before you get started with any of this is you're going to make sure that your frame is like super clean. You don't want any dirt on the bike at all. A bit easier if you have just pulled the bike out of the box, but this is super important because anything that you leave on the surface is going to be encapsulated underneath the protective film. Because of all these little nicks and scratches that I've got from not looking after my bike and not putting a frame protector on, what I'm going to be doing before this is actually putting some black vinyl graphics on to cover those. Hopefully they're going to look like they were meant to be on the bike. That is the plan. I'm going to gloss over this because I've done it a lot in some of my other videos. If you want me to do a full video on how I did those graphics, comment down below and I'll sort you out, mate. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run a center line of masking tape. Because the bike's symmetrical, I'm just going to flip it and run a center line right the way through, and then I'm also going to run one on the outside of where I think it's going to be. I'm then going to close off those edges. You'll see how this makes it easier later when I come to peel it off, and you're peeling the whole piece rather than each individual piece of tape. So with the tape, outline exactly where it's going to be, then fill in the middle, and then we'll draw our line around it. Let's have a look at that. What I'm then going to do, once I've got my tape on there, I'm going to use a Sharpie or a Vivid, and I'm just going to draw around where my cuts are going to be. Now we peel it off. When I'm peeling it off, I just want to make sure that I'm not stretching the tape. I want to pull the whole thing off together, because like you see here, they will decide to slip on each other. Just pull everything off as one piece so that you keep your reference dialed. This is the kind of job you just want to absolutely take your time, get it perfectly right, make as many notes and markings on the profiles as you can. I like to come in and make little markings for the darts when there's some really tight radiuses. That way when I come to cut it out later, I can put those darts in and it should fold beautifully around everything. Same thing when you come in to peel it off. You just want to make sure that you're not stretching or pulling the tape too much. You want it all to come off in one piece. Doing this really slowly and methodically, the opposite way that you laid the tape down, will give you the best result later when it comes to flatten everything out. Alright, so once you've got all of your profiles off the bike and in this kind of form on a flat bench, we're going to want to flatten them out. You'll notice that especially in these really tight curves, the profile is actually lifted up in the opposite kind of bend to what your bike frame would go. So what I like to do is I actually, where I've made these little markings, snip it a little bit so it can lay flat without crinkling or distorting these profiles to get them flat. Once you've got it to this point, what you could actually do is just take these straight and cut them out with a pair of scissors on the vinyl. What we're going to do in this video is actually take these, digitize them with the scanner and Illustrator, and then cut them out on the vinyl cutter. I've brought everything into Illustrator. You can see that I've also organized all my images and lined them up and made sure that the scales are perfect between this and my actual profiles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer and work my way through outlining all of these profiles. If you don't have a program like Illustrator, you can find some free versions of vector. Things like Inkscape's a good one. I'll leave a link down below. Right, so lastly, once everything's ready, all your layouts are done, we're going to bring them into the Brother software, making sure each time you change softwares that your scale is still perfect. This Brother software has a bit of a tendency to bring it in all weird stuff. The way I get around that is I put a perfect box around everything, and then when I bring it in, I can scale it to exactly that size. Next step, save it out, put it on the cutter. Now the fun begins. This is a bit that most people might find it a little bit daunting, but if you really take your time with it and apply a lot of soapy water with one of these spray bottles, I use a baby shampoo, it's normally the best stuff, and then a squeegee or an old card of some kind. What the soapy water does is it actually lets you reposition the vinyl over and over again until it gets a perfect fit, and then as you squeeze it out with a squeegee, or in some cases I just use my hand to get the most of it out, it actually will set in place. I find that it really helps to just take your time, start removing some of that excess water, slowly squeegeeing it out, and then you should start to be able to really get the form perfect. If you do need to come in some really difficult bits, you can actually snip out and just make another dot, or if you're in a real pinch, you can just give it a real light heat gun, and that'll help it set perfectly. Some bits do go on much easier than others. Sometimes you just can use your fingers to just push all that water out. Just make sure that you get absolutely everything out from underneath the vinyl, because later on, if the rest of it's stuck and you've still got some water underneath that, it can leave a real nasty bubble or ripple when you touch it. Sweet, thanks guys, thanks for watching. It's actually been really fun making this one, and my bike's nice and protected. Now, it has been a lot of research and back and forth for me to make this video, so if you liked it, make sure you show some appreciation down below. Comment to let me know what you thought, and yeah, I'll see you next time, hey? Hey Walt, come up here, come up here, come up here. Hey, can you say hello? Look at me. Hello Walt. Hello.